Hey everybody, it's me Edward Jones back with a new video. Too smart for blue collar. Hope you guys are enjoying your week. I just got off from doing a 10, and I gotta do more tens throughout the week. But a few days ago, in fact, this actually happened. I remember this happening a few years ago too. But a few days ago, I was talking to. It was after church. I was talking to a friend of mine. He's an elderly man. I think he's in his 70s, Vietnam veteran. Um, he was also a cop, and we were just talking about some stuff, and I get asked this a lot. Like why don't you become a cop, or aren't you if you want to join the military? I said, no, I don't. I've been asked it a lot. I've been confused for being one of those two, mostly military. And I said, no, I have no interest in those things. And he was saying that I'm a bright young guy. He didn't think I should be wasting my time. You know, going well into my like my retirement years, doing zzz, maybe talking about welding. Uh, and it's not the first time I've heard someone say something like that. I used to work at a pizzeria, and I got to talking to one of the guys that helped build the place, and he was stopping. He's friends of the owner, and I got to meet him, and we were talking for a bit, and I was primarily working. I fixed food up front, but I did a lot of work in the back kitchen. You know, not just because washing dishes was seen as easy, which it really isn't. To making sure that you're doing a good job, but I was also maintain equipment. I would sharpen knives. I would make sure um, certain parts, certain mechanical things like what was the tool we used? We made the marinara sauce. It was hand the mill. We called it a mill. Make sure the mill was in good shape because it was I'm good with my hands. I like working on mechanical things. And one of the guys I used to work with told me, hey, so and so was said he'd ask he asked the owner, what the fuck is he doing back there? He got too much going on up there to be back there washing doing dishes. And I think that actually when I first heard that, that's what actually pushed me into going into welding. Into going to welding school. And as you guys, if you've been with the channel long enough, you see I did the videos where I was doing some of my tests, and when I was doing pipe welding. Um, but yeah, then I had that conversation with over the weekend where someone was saying that I'm just too smart, I'm too bright to be to be basically kind of toiling away with like a blue collar job. I should be doing better. I should be doing greater things, and I do admire that. I am happy to see that there have been people who have seen that within me. That I could be doing something that's I guess in their eyes seems to be more worthwhile. You know, uh, I once had a friend who actually is in the Air Force. He got out of boot camp. This is like over 10 years ago. We remember talking about this, and we went to high school together. I was a year over him. He was in ROTC. And he decided, he went to the Citadel, did boot camp for him over the summer, and he said, "Ed, you've been great. If you in boot camp, I think you would have been able to, lead your own platoon." I told him, I really appreciate that. Um, like I said, I just I just had an interest in it, and I think it comes from, I think part of it comes from, positions of power. I've had I've had a position. I was in a position once where at one job where I had other people underneath me, and I was known as a hard ass because I was just more, kind of just on everybody. Just was really because I didn't want to be stuck doing much of anything at the end of the night. So, but I said, I'd rather be known as a hard ass than a pussy ass pushover. But I was pretty effective at my job. I was a shift lead at a little bakery, and I think certain positions of power attract certain people. And it's funny because usually it's the thing where the people who you want in positions of power, they kind of turned off by it. You know, they kind of have to be forced into it in a way. Or, the situation have to call for them to stand up and, stand up and be counted. They have actually something that has to actually compel them into doing it. Usually positions of power or positions where, someone will have like a certain amount of control over something or somebody or some people. It attracts nefarious types. The kind of people who you wouldn't want them being a local dog catcher, let alone like a politician or something, or or a CEO or something like that. Um, so I think that's part of it. I never really been so I've never really been too attracted to positions of power. I've been seen as like I said a very authoritative person. Kind of a hard ass, but it wasn't something. But I was never known as someone who would run loose and wild with being in a position of authority. I built up a good reputation with people who are close to me that they can trust me in that role if the situation called for it. Uh, but also another part of it I think comes from the fact that I love working with my hands. I've had a desk job before back when I was in college, and it was okay, but I got more excitement out when I had to fix things. Whether it was I had to drill out a lock in in a file cabinet, or I had to unjam the paper shredder, stuff like that. And I was more happy with doing things when I was working with my hands, working with tools. Um, Not to say I don't enjoy working with other people, but I really do enjoy building things. I enjoy fixing things. As you guys know, I'm always talking about the welder. I got the call that the parts are ready for me to pick up. So I'm looking forward to putting the thing back together. I hope to show do a video showing you guys the type of welder it is and how it works and all the work I did to it. But I always love working with my hands. I love, like I said, I like fixing things. Um, and I think when you have positions like that, where it's seen as blue collar work, sometimes they get this idea of people who are not the brightest, that they will gravitate towards that kind of work. But that's not true. Being able to put certain things together, being able to repair certain items, being able to maintain certain types of machinery takes a lot of does take a lot of skill. It takes quite a bit of intellect. It takes problem solving skills. Being able to figure out what is wrong and come up with a solution like that. At times, um, like when I was at work, today, one of my main welder, someone had replaced the MIG gun on it, and I noticed that I wasn't getting enough. I was getting felt like I was getting no gas coverage, and I thought that maybe the fan was blowing all my cover gas away. And we use argon for welding aluminum, and so I thought for a second, well, let me listen for the gun, and usually you hear a rush of gas come out the gun, but it was a very faint. So first thing I thought of was, well, maybe well, we can't be low on gas because we just changed the tanks. And so let me check the lead, and it turns out the lead that it got replaced with, it didn't have the right size gasket. So I went to another part of the factory, went to old parts bin, found the gasket I needed, or not a gasket, an O-ring. There's an O-ring that fits on the end at the start of the lead where the gas goes through, but but the O-ring has to be the right size. Well, the O-ring that was on there was not the right size. I found the right size, put it in, and the welder worked properly. So things like that. So it's like being able to. So it takes quite a bit of intellect to identify a problem. Without being just stumped. Progress. You lose. There's a lot of time lost. You're trying to figure out what the problem is. But I was able to basically deduce it, use deductive reasoning, I suppose, to figure out what's the most likely the problem. I know I have no gas coverage, so let me figure out what's associated with that. So not too many. So I don't think it's correct to assume that a lot of guys who do blue collar work um, don't are aren't very don't have much intellect. No, they have quite a bit. It's just that it maybe and the thing is, there's more of a they have more of a problem solving intellect, and it can actually carry over to other things. You know, they have to, it helps be filled in, on what the situation may be. Um, but get the right amount of information, the right, right way of thinking. You can fix a lot of, fix a lot of problems. I remember Seller just did a video not too long ago on, type of skills that are good to have. Should your, should your main source of income, be affected by by a hardship in a bad economy. And it was interesting. I left a comment where I talked about, for me it was welding, because even when I was 16 years ago, when I was in high school, I said, I thought about, maybe hard times when I hit some, at some point, what would be a good skill to fall back on? And welding was the one I felt, welding was the route I took. So it just seemed like I just naturally, was naturally geared towards that. Plus, funny enough, my grandfather was a welder at Williamsburg Steel. Um, Worked a lot of years. They made elevators up there, and he did welding there too. But I think it's something that runs in the family. Blue collar work, and I always loved it. Um, for those who are more geared towards working at a desk, more power to you. In fact, I did a video about this a long time ago called Shout Out to My Blue Collar." I just wanted to talk about something I've heard time and time again about me, about people who've got to know me, and they see that I'm into these things that doesn't really seem to be, I guess maybe it's very cerebral, but problem solving does take a lot of intellect. It does take being able to um, analyze a problem, and strip away needless stuff, useless information, and get to the heart of the problem, and then come up with a solution. And that's what I learned. That's what I learned to do, and with various things that things I've worked on. Um, so, I gotta say, I appreciate people thinking that I should be doing bigger and better things, and maybe they'll happen someday. I hope to have my own shop someday. But I won't. Go into something just because it may for the prestige, or for the for making more money. Which there's nothing wrong with making money, obviously, but I don't want that. I don't want that to be the one thing that I'm all about. I actually like fixing things, and also like having a level of care in the work I do. Whether it was whether I was working in a pizzeria, I used to work in a hot dog shop, and I always thought there should be a level of concern, or at least a level of pride in the work that you did, so that you didn't you just weren't being sloppy. Which I think I'll do another video on some things I experienced in different jobs I worked, with people who just didn't, and they weren't really in it. They were just in it for the money, but they didn't really. But they just, it was like more of a they just did the bare minimum what needs to be done to get paid. But yeah, I just want to share my thoughts on something I've heard time and time again throughout my life. And please share your thoughts. Have you heard the same thing? If you worked a blue collar job, um, have you heard people say that you think you should be you're smarter than this, you should be doing something better? Please share your thoughts. Leave a comment in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe. If you want to help out with the channel, remember I run very little ads on my channel. Go to my YouTube homepage, look for the Give Up That Cheese button, and take it to PayPal. Any amount that you donate is greatly appreciated. Any gripes, complaints, send me a PM. I see we got to address them. That's my video. Too smart for blue collar. I'm Edward Jones. You guys take care. Be safe. Stay strapped. And God bless.